Here we go once again. What the? Oh, look at all these people. Oh my God.
Hey, hey.
Hey, how's it
Absolutely
going?
badasses.
Jamie,
All
you're
right, I'm
muted.
gonna
What's up, everybody?
Patrick, I'm gonna share that link real quick. Just give me a minute.
Sweet. Thank you, my friend.
There we go.
All right, Jamie,
Go,
you are the host
go.
right now.
What's up, Dave?
Good to
Cheers.
see you too, Micah.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Hey.
Jamie still doesn't know that he's muted, by the way, right
Jamie's
now.
already, Jamie's already
Cheers!
tanked.
I'm glad someone else is drinking Gogol.
Salud.
Gogol, I like the mustache.
You
dude.
like it, all right? Mixing it up.
Yeah,
Something a little
I
different.
like it.
Nice shirt.
Thank
A
you.
little imperfect organism for you tonight.
Mhm. That's right. I'm here to make it imperfect.
Right.
Where is Ross? Oh, there he is.
What up, Kay? What up, Zeno Nick? What up, Andrew Brock? Marty Lorenzo, Poop Vein. Oh, it's Rated Merc. What up, dude? And everybody. Good to see you guys.
Here, I'm just gonna really quick rename everybody.
Perry, Andrew Brock wants your shirt. Just for the
Got
record.
it.
My
Message.
mom wants his shirt.
Message Andy. Andy Geek Girl will make you a shirt.
She will. What up, Mario? Hey, Julian.
Ross.
Oh, Ross, awesome.
Holy shit, Ross, you scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
There
That's
we go.
fantastic. We have a couple introductions here. So, Gogol, you have not met Ross before, I don't believe. And Micah,
I
you have also not met
Don't
Ross.
think so.
You're muted, honey.
Ross is our resident
Evil.
Englishman.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going? You okay?
Hello.
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I've got my
Nice to
apple
meet you.
juice. I'm ready.
Is it really
Yeah.
apple juice, Ross?
I've got my sparkling apple cider water thing
That'll work.
in a
Yeah.
Halloween.
A little
Apple cider
apple
water.
theme.
Hey, so
Crazy.
that stuff works, doesn't it?
It
Micah?
does.
Oh my
It does.
God, Jamie with the apple cider vinegar.
Oh no. Oh God, no.
How do I
That's-
change my background picture? I don't know.
I sent you one, didn't I?
Yeah. But I don't know
Yeah,
how to
just
change
go
it
into
on
settings and virtual backgrounds.
here.
Give us a minute, everybody. We're just getting set up. Okay,
Apple
so
juice, Johnny Walker Blue, same thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Patrick, for the sake of brevity, do you want to intro Gogol, or I can, or
Just
any
in the
wife,
beginning?
or do you want
Everyone
to
Let's
can.
just
I
let
mean,
let's just
okay,
let everyone
okay.
Introduce me.
themselves.
Let's
you
all
want.
say
Fine.
something fun about Gogol.
Something super embarrassing. And then let's also Jamie, don't forget to record.
Thank you. You
Ah,
neither.
Good call. Good call.
That's happened many times now.
Our last show, we remember to
Xander,
record.
cheers.
Xander.
Okay, we're both recording. All right, everybody.
Are we good? Are we ready? So Dave,
I'm
you've
always
watched this
ready.
show, right? I know you're always. Every day's Alien Day, and Dave will.
Right.
So everyone knows how this works, right? Our segments and everything. Our last segment that we're adding tonight will be closing thoughts on the show of the season. And we're giving 90 seconds to everyone. So everyone, if they want to use a timer, Perry really wants everyone to use a timer tonight.
Oh, fine.
He won't shut up
Whatever
about it.
Perry
He's like,
wants.
it's like, I swear to God. People need to use a timer. I'm coming for him.
Assholes and elbows. Hudson, come here. Come here.
Yes.
Look into my eye.
All right, let's do
Are we
this.
ready?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. What's
Sure.
something that we're forgetting? I think we're good. Oh, we need the itinerary in the chat.
Yes, hang on one second.
Itineraries. What
You
is
have that?
this?
It's all professional shit.
What's
It's
going
been a while
on?
since you've been on, Google.
Yes.
We're gonna wake up in Nice
We've
tomorrow.
been bought by
and
FX.
yeah, didn't you hear the news?
Yeah.
We're a corporate shill now,
Oh, all right.
but also
Boy.
we're haters at the same time.
Well, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Hang on. I found it. I'm just copying.
Thank you, Jamie. And then we are definitely good to go. Ooh, the chat is hopping.
Hopping like rabbits, hopping like pogo sticks, hopping like
Your mom.
face huggers.
Something.
Uh,
Mm.
call your mom the eyeball the way she latches on me. Let's go.
Ooh, that was good.
Does my
Right.
mic sound okay to everyone?
Yeah, sounds great.
Sounds
Look at
fantastic.
you all professional.
Sounds a little
Ross.
British.
I know.
Bloody hell, Ross.
Does my mic sound all right to you?
Hang on.
Oh, Jamie.
Jamie is, he just
Yeah,
left.
it's because everyone's ready, then walks away.
It's like, I gotta go to
Literally
sleep.
always.
I burn really
Diva.
hot.
It's
so
like
I
it's
turn
like
the
a it's
fan
like a
on.
hinge date.
He's baking a pie. I had to check on it.
Yeah, it's called Mrs. Chico's. Not yours.
Damn.
Your mom.
Oh.
Oh,
All right, let's roll.
God.
No,
We
your
got-
wife.
We got
Sorry,
lots of
Micah.
people in the chat.
All right.
Ready?
Ready?
How dare you?
All right.
Sure. Why not?
Welcome to Unearthed, an Alien Earth after show brought to you by Perfect Organism, the Alien Saga podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Prater, and I'm joined by my co-hosts.
Patrick Green.
Perry Chicos.
Holden Will Hoyt.
Ross.
Oh yeah, sorry, me. Ross, dead dog.
And beloved returning guests, Mr. Dave Gogol of Xenomorphing. Dave, welcome.
Glad to be back.
And my amazing wife / the person who understands the show better than I do, Micah Green, coming back for
Aw.
a second
The
episode.
most perfect organism.
series.
Yeah,
The
Micah.
most perfect of all.
I'm glad that you guys finally recognize my power.
We've known it all along. We've known it all along.
They had to bring us both back together to balance the force.
I know,
That's
right?
true. That's true.
It's
Yeah.
too unstable
Oh,
without
It's
the other.
very exactly.
And speaking of which, Andy is not here tonight. She told us before the season started that she had an extremely important ticket to a show tonight and could not find another way out of it. So she sends her love and regards, and she's definitely not
Hi,
going to
Andy.
watch this because it will be spoiled for her. But Andy, we hope you're having a wonderful time in Manhattan tonight.
Yes. Also, quickly, we have Xander House on the group tonight. He will be adding his comments as the night progresses. We have a lot to discuss.
We do indeed. And of course, keep the chats. God, there's so many conversations in the chat happening right now. We're going to try to keep up with these. But also, hey, if you just end up talking to each other, that's fine too. We're going to do our best. Should we start with a little synopsis, everyone?
Let's do it.
Are you ready? All right. This is the last time I'm doing this season. I'll throw my bookmark down. All right. Episode 8, The Real Monsters, begins with Dame Sylvia having a Xeno encounter at the gravesite. We learned that the island has been cut off and personnel are running low. Wendy and the Lost Boys decide to, quote unquote, haunt the house. Morrow wakes up in his cell with Hermit. This is the best I'm going to feel all day. Let me enjoy it. We get glimpses of Marcy and Joe's past. Morrow and Joe are freed. Morrow and Kirsch go to Pound Town. Boy Cavalier reveals a bit about his past, what happened to his father, and how he got into making sense in the first place as a child. The Lost Boys begin a game of hide and seek with the grown-ups. The last Lost Boy identity falls, as Curly says, her name's Jane. Nibs nabs Dame Sylvia. Slightly and Smee round up Kirsch and Morrow. Adam Ines brings Joe to Boy Cavalier's office. The Midge finally leaves. I love how the Midge, during the course of this, series, has just gradually become such a celebrity. But I feel like star power just saying that. The Midge finally leaves the sheep and goes for Hermit, and Wendy intervenes and freezes Adam. Says, "You don't get to hurt us anymore." Wendy delivers a powerful message about identity, powerlessness, and honesty. Wendy and Hermit capture Boy Cavalier with a little help from the pneumomorph. The Orchid, who finally decides to do something, takes Siberian. Curly takes Rashidi. The Midge escapes with a little help from our pal Arthur.
Arthur.
Arthur! We end with Yutani's forces inbound, all surviving principal cast together in the cell. Wendy says Boy Cavalier's secret is he was never a Peter Pan. He was never a boy. He was just a man who decided to hate. And we end with Pearl Jam's fucking awesome Animal taking us home for the end of season 1 of Alien Earth.
And since Andy is not here today, I will let's go around and do like immediate reactions to this season finale.
I like it.
I guess.
That was your 90 seconds.
I guess.
That's it. I'm trying to keep it short. No, yeah, I'll kick it off. It was awesome. I loved it. I love the little promo beforehand where Babu says, it's chaos. This episode definitely was chaos. Very chaotic. Um, I really enjoyed the Lost Boys like taking over and like having there's like the shift in power. And I really enjoyed that piece of it and I really enjoyed watching what each of them was going to do and how they're kind of I feel like this whole time we've talked about them coming into themselves or finding themselves sort of like growing up, right? They don't really know who they are. And I feel like we're slowly getting a little bit of like who their identities are in these new bodies. So that was really cool. And I absolutely loved the image, that whole sequence. Obviously, Arthur reincarnated. I'm really excited for what's going to happen with that or what they have planned. And then I did enjoy that we find out that a little backstory on Boy Cavalier and the little twist that his dad is Adam Hines, his synth dad.
I guess I'll go next. What do I have? 90 seconds, right? That's the rule. Um,
Give or take.
Give or take. All right. I thought it was good. I was enthralled the whole time. Didn't quite know what was going to happen. He actually treated the xenomorph like a xenomorph this episode. It only took him 8, 9 episodes to do it. Also it came together good. The stuff with the synths flipping to power I also liked. Um whatchamacallit, Morrow had a great line with oh shit, what was it? I wrote it down. Hold on. I like the line.
I think I know which one it is.
Yeah, you probably know which one it is. That's yesterday conversation. I don't look back. That's a bar. That was a great line. That was a great line. Um, but overall, I enjoyed it. It was a great finale. Really led into the next season. Hopefully, we get more Yutani. I thought that was, I think, it was going to be teased for the second season. A bit of a miss not having enough of her. But overall, thought it was good and good finale.
All
I'll go
right, I'll
next.
go. Oh, you go ahead, Holden.
I really love this episode. This was a great one. It kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time. It managed to do everything that I think a season finale is supposed to do, while like maintaining integrity to the story that was being told. Um, I thought that was really great. Lots of big twists. Pretty upset about my boy Arthur being used as a sort of weekend at Arthur's type deal. It's yeah, it was bombastic. It was
Fantastic.
yeah. It kept me on the edge of my seat, and I thought that was great. That was something that I was kind of starting to lose as the series was going on, like kind of starting to be able to predict a few things, but this episode was really unpredictable for me. Overall, I really enjoyed it. Another banger ending song as well with Pearl Jam. That was so great.
All right, I guess I'll jump in real quick. Um, so there's so much power in this episode for me. It is I literally Patrick and I were just talking about how I personally feel like the characters are finally revealing who they actually are to each other, and it's just amazing. Um, there's a line for me too, Dave, but I thought it was going to be the one that you said, but for me, it's another Morrow line where Hermit says, "I'm going to save who I can save," and then Morrow says something along the lines of, "Well, you better find the children because I'm going to burn the house to the
Yeah, that was
ground."
great.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Chills, like
Agreed.
full.
That was
I'm gonna
phenomenal.
burn this place to the ground.
I
It's
literally
so
have
fucking
chills
cool.
thinking about the moment. So like it was amazing. Um, Still not so sure how I feel, and I haven't been able to say this before with you guys. Patrick knows I'm not sure how I feel about how Wendy's kind of telling the Xeno what to do. I'm not sure how much I love that, but I think that this episode is incredibly strong, incredibly emotionally driven. I have so many thoughts about Boy Cavalier, and I can't wait to get into it.
I'll go next. So I love the episode. I really didn't like the ending. To me, it just felt like it just cut off too early to me. I think I wanted a lot more from it. But finally got to see what the amazing plant monster did. Finally. I really enjoyed that. I wish we got to see a little bit more of it. Overall, I'm probably about like 90% happy with it. It was just the ending for me. I wasn't a huge fan of the ending. And I've been like that through virtually every episode. It seems to like gear itself up and it gets really, really good. And then there's just this drop off. Doesn't feel like an exciting cliffhanger. I was like, don't know, it just doesn't feel right for me. But I have enjoyed it. I did enjoy this episode. I thought this one was better than the last. Probably one of my favorite episodes so far. But for me, I wasn't happy with the ending. Great ending song though. But yeah, for me, it just wasn't quite right for me. But there could be a number of factors of that as well, like the look of the alien and stuff like that. But just overall, the ending wasn't what I liked or would have liked. But everything else before that, I really did enjoy.
Here's why I love this episode. This is my favorite one of the season, and it's because we see the complete collapse of the bullshit, and we see that at the heart of the bullshit was just a scared little man, and those scared little men are all over the world right now, and they have a lot of power. And I think this is a wonderful study in what that looks like. How Boy Cavalier constructed this entire mythology to basically hide the fact that he was just a dick. He's just a selfish asshole, just like his dad was, that he like feels this, heroic drive that he killed his father and took his place. No, he's just another fucking asshole. And I love how it takes children to show him that, something that I said to the Lost Boys when we interviewed them was this whole series, I've been kind of thinking about the characteristics that Sydney Chandler said when she was pulling the performance together for Wendy, how kids were, brave and et cetera. And then one of them was honest. And I really think that the actual power of children, as revealed in this show, is not their imagination, it's their honesty. And I love how the honesty of these kids cut through all the bullshit, all the layers of shit that have been stacked upon each other by Boy Cavalier and his self-mythologizing. And I think, in a weird way, one of the most powerful moments of the episode for me is when Curly, who's a character that I didn't feel particularly invested in, says, "Call me Jane" at the end. And that's like, there was like that last little piece remaining of what Boy Cavalier had set up falls. And then it's like, game on. And I really love that.
Yeah, I love this episode as well. It was urgent. Everything that I really look for in an alien film or an alien whatever, it just had it to me. Everything was collapsing, and the Lost Boys, I don't even like calling them that really, because they're not that. They're something else now. But these hybrids are coming into themselves. They're walking into their agency. I thought that was really great. And as are the creatures in their own way. The creatures are also like, sorry, we don't abide by these rules, and they're getting out and they're doing their things. I also loved the fight between Morrow and Kirsch. I thought that was brilliant. Every alien film ends with a bit of a dismemberment of a synth. That didn't quite happen, but it was sort of in that vein where you saw the milk or the whatever all over his face. And I thought it was really, really great, and just great dialogue between them. Yeah, I love the face-off between Boy Cavalier and the sheep. And it's very creepy that the image has now gotten into Arthur. We'll see where that goes. Yeah, I really, really love this ending. It's definitely a cliffhanger. It's not, like, to Ross's point, it's not like the end of the story. And I think it's hard in shows, because if it's a 5-season arc or a 3-season arc, we don't know. So we're not going to see the end of this story. So that's always a hard thing to do. It's not going to feel completely satisfactory. But yeah, I'm really loving it. I love most of the decisions that are made. I still don't like the way that the xenomorph is portrayed, but it's definitely one of the better ways. Like, we don't see that much of it in this, and for the best. But yeah, I just love it. I just think it's beautiful to look at. It's urgent. It's important. There's just everything's bubbling to the surface. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it was scary again. The xenomorph. Like I really enjoyed that. I felt like we talked about that throughout these episodes. Like the xenomorph's kind of taking a back seat, and the image is really like the star of the show. But I very much enjoyed in this episode, however it was portrayed or not, with its motives. That like there were moments where I was like genuinely like freaked out or like, what is it gonna do? Who's it gonna kill next? That type of thing. So anyway, let's get into our company debrief and do a little talk a little bit more on theories, some symbolism, some deep dive into characters and things like that. Does anyone feel, Micah, take us away?
Pick me, pick me. Can we start by talking about Boy Cavalier real quick?
That's
Just
who
like, let's
yes.
go. Because I have a lot of thoughts about him from this particular episode. Like, it's just like you were saying, Patrick, how all of the bullshit is not only stripped away, but it's being taken away from him by Kirsch, by the kiddos, and like all of the people around him are just they know that he's a bullshitter and that he's not who he says he's like making himself out to be. And it's so cool to see that. And I think it comes out first subtly in little ways. There's this moment where as Marcy Wendy is taking over the technology where the computer shuts off in front of him and he does this stupid thing that all of us do where he like hits the keyboard to try to get it to work again. And I just find that so funny because he just looks like an idiot who doesn't know what he's doing. He's just like slapping the keyboard arbitrarily to try to get it to work again. Just like that's a first window into like, oh, you actually don't know what you're doing at all, do you? You don't. And I just love as he kind of disintegrates a little bit, like by Kirsch telling him about his, your symptoms are showing essentially of the ADHD. And even his made father, the father that he had made, is showing some kind of disappointment in him as the story goes. And I have one question. I know I'm a little chaotic with this comment, but what do you guys think about this? I had this thought today, while watching the show. After all of these episodes, do you guys think Boy Cavalier is his actual given name? Or do you think that he gave that to himself to kind of make himself more legendary? Because I'm kind of hooked on that thought that he's like, my name's gonna be Boy Cavalier now, and I'm Peter Pan, and I'm so cool and mysterious. And then he had so much money, everyone else was like, okay.
Yeah, I think he gave himself that name because he
100%.
seems to be portraying himself as something that he isn't. And what I mean by that is that he portrays himself as being this most intelligent person. No one's worthy of talking to him unless he thinks so. So it would make sense that he would give himself this title, this new name, something that nobody else has. Um, yeah, Boy Cavalier is a really interesting character for me, and I quite like him. He's one of my favorite characters easily in this show. Really annoying, but in a fun way.
I for one am whenever he started that monologue about his father, my brain immediately jumped to my father
Yes, I was thinking that
was
too. Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
drinker, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Me
how
too.
close are we gonna get here? But it veered away from that very quickly. But for a
What's
second, I
that
was like,
reference
uh-oh, the Joker,
Joker.
Dark Knight,
Oh,
Ledger's
baby.
Joker.
Only the greatest
Mhm.
performance of the Joker ever, Jamie. Oh my God.
that's true. True.
Also in
It's
that scene as well,
gone.
the music that they used for that, parts of it were from certain scenes in Alien Isolation as well.
Hmm.
Little bit. So as he's walking through the door, the little soundtrack going on in the background is a very specific, or a couple of specific parts that they use in Alien Isolation. So whether they use like, because I know when they made the game, they had like um, music stored in archives and stuff. Or maybe they just mixed a bit of that with the composer as well. I thought it was quite cool.
I also have to say I did enjoy the timpanis, like the boom boom, but it was very like 2001 Space Odyssey, you know what I mean? That's immediately what I thought of. Every time I'd hear those, I was like, oh shit. Mankind in
Just
the
another shout out
shitter.
to Jeff Russo, though, who just, I think, knocked this score out of the park.
Out of the
Yeah.
park.
Yes,
The,
agreed.
for
Yeah.
me, it's
Yeah.
the best score I've heard
Brilliant.
since Alien 3, to be honest with you.
100%.
Yeah.
100%
It's
agreed.
very
Yeah.
good, yeah. Yeah, I'd love or go
Yeah, all
ahead.
right. One thing I did like that's kind of came to my mind was arguably the best, the one good guy on the show. Arthur gets the image at the end. Everyone else kind of has questionable morals, and Arthur was arguably or as Devin said, the James Cameron looking guy. The one good soul, and poor guy. Weekend at Bernie's, Weekend at Arthur's gets the image. So now you're gonna have all that whole dynamic with everyone's favorite, when everyone cared about is going to be stalking everybody, and who knows what it's going to do. I think that was a nice little twist into the heart of everything.
Yeah, well said, Gogol. I agree. I think we all loved Arthur and we all also love the image. So it's like these two, uniting, and I think it's going to be a problem for Weyland-Yutani. Like obviously there's something there that I'm really looking forward to what they do with it in season two. But I also wanted to touch on Boy Cavalier a little bit. I really love getting to know his character. Like his character, the writing for him is so interesting, and I really enjoyed his sort of breakdown in his office when everything's going wrong. The screens aren't working, and he's like, God, I wish I could talk to you. I wish I could talk to the image. Like that would be a fucking interesting conversation. And I'm just like, there it is again. He's like so consumed by this idea that he needs to speak to somebody smarter than him, that it's ultimately, he's making mistakes and overseeing a lot of this. And we talk about his hubris and the what Prodigy Corporation, how he's built it, and it just aligns with a lot of those things that realistically we're like, oh, we don't, why is it happening this way, or why aren't they watching everybody as closely? Like, how could they get away with doing this and XYZ? And I think you really get some insight into that, into why those things are missed. And so yeah, absolutely loved that. I really do love the whole Kirsch and Morrow and battle throwdown wrestling match in the lab, and I'm really excited to see how they build upon those characters too. And like the ending, Ross, I know you said you didn't like it. I think it's a good feeling that we feel like we want more, right? Like I even in the beginning was like, oh, this episode's only 48 minutes long. I was expecting it to be an hour and a half, but um I love that they set it up that way. It's definitely going to get us psyched for when the second season comes out. And I just am like, what is the Xeno going to do? And it's the younger Xenomorph is there too. Like, are they going to buddy up and just slaughter everybody? Is Morrow going to get out? There's just so many questions. I'm going to be thinking about it for much longer after. Well, it's over now, but it's going to keep me thinking. So that's cool.
Can I jump in and just say something about Boy Cavalier that's been pickling my brain a little bit? Unless I've missed it and I've just not been paying any attention, is there anything in the show that's actually indicated that he's actually really, really intelligent? Like more intelligent than everybody else, more intelligent than the scientists, or have I just missed something?
Well, we
He
have to take him
spouts
at
It's a
his
good.
word, right?
In
We
my
only know what
opinion,
he
not at
tells
all.
us.
But I
This is
think
the
he has business savvy, which is different. I think he is a
but
made man in some ways. I think his
Sounds
business
familiar.
savvy is what got him to where he is. But I think intelligence, it's like people confuse wisdom and knowledge, and they're not the same thing. And I
Mhm.
think he's in that category.
And
He
Because
knows
he
things,
also
but
he also
yeah,
did build Adamines when he was a child. So that's probably a pretty
Mm,
intelligent person.
that's a
okay,
good
yeah,
point.
I missed that then. Yeah,
Unless his father did. I mean, we don't. All we know is what Boy
Right.
Cavalier himself is telling us. So that we know he's a bullshitter. Like maybe it was his
that's
dad's
what.
android and he stole it from
Yeah,
him. You know.
And
Good
it could
point.
have been a ploy for the Lost Boys to not kill him when he was walking into their. That's kind of what I was thinking too, is he was spinning the story to try to
Get
relate
sympathy.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
God,
it
yes.
it just seems to me as though that he's not as, I'm not saying that he's not intelligent, because he obviously is, but he's not as intelligent as what he makes out. It seems as though he's just like, um like he's putting up armor to protect himself, you know. And that maybe he's trying to find, like, with these specimens that he's got, he's got these androids that this new technology that they're working on there. He's got these new species as well, and he's going to be the first one to, it's all like feeding his ego as well as protecting himself at the same time, which I really, really do like. But for me, it's like all the other scientists who are obviously very, very, very intelligent. They're the ones that are essentially building these androids and things. And it's like, the thing that crossed my mind is like, are you actually as intelligent as you think you are, or that you make out? Um, and that's why I just find him really, really interesting. If he, obviously he will come back in season 2, I really hope they explore him a little bit more as well. Like maybe a little bit of backstory, what he went through. Is he actually intelligent, or is it all just to protect himself?
I think he's at least as smart enough to surround himself with people who can actually do things, you
Mhm.
know. But I agree, Ross. I think like through most of the show, you see him talking down to people. This is my world. He's just living in it. All of those lines, it's just for me, it just reads so much like you were saying, Patrick, so many of the people that are in power today, um, just saying things like that to sound cool and intelligent, but really you're just bluffing and puffing your chest out. I don't believe that he's smarter than, say, Arthur, who is actually doing science, or Dane, even, who is actually part of the crew creating these hybrids and doing all the work. He's just ordering people around. I mean, it seems as if maybe he's smart enough to make good business decisions. So stuff like that.
I think like I do find Boy Cavalier endlessly fascinating, and I hope we have, or I hope we are informed of his real name in the coming seasons or whatever. Just because I'd love to have someone sort of put him in his place with his real name. And I think with these people, like you talk about, like Elon Musk, he had money and he bought these companies and then he stuck his name on them. That's what Boy Cavalier has done. He bought these companies, surrounded himself with these people, essentially sycophants who, and he gets the accolades for their work. And this is how these people are made. I mean, sometimes these people, start a company and that company makes $1 trillion, and then they live off of that success. And then those other companies spawn other companies. But again, much like Elon Musk, he bought his fame in some ways. I think he's a highly intelligent person, but he has no emotional intelligence. He has no wisdom. He thinks being smart means he's important. He thinks money means he's important. And again, he gets all of the accolades. It's endlessly fascinating, again, these types of people, because right now we're living in a world where we are living in the consequences of these types of people, honestly. No matter what side of the aisle or whatever you're on, we're all living in the world that's bought up by corporations, and the we're living in the lasting impacts of the decisions of those corporations, and which is why I love how the hybrids rise to their occasion. They're like, hey, we're in control. We've always had the power. They've had the power since day one. They were just convinced that they didn't, which is an interesting play on, like, again, Noah Hawley, in our interview with him today, said everything he does seems to be oddly relevant to the times that we're in. But the hybrids discovered that they had power, great power, not just power in terms of their own agency, but physical power. They're stronger than everyone. They can communicate with satellites and with digital technology. All they had to do was realize that they're powerful. And I think, again, because I play everything into what we're going through today as a world culture, it's the grunts, it's the blue collar people who have the power. We are the ones in control, and we've been sold a bill of goods that we don't have power because we don't have money, when in fact we do. And I love this theme in this show.
I love that theme too. Some really good stuff in the chat. One of them is the faithful points out that Boy Cavalier was probably lying about his dad. So like again, I really think that anything that he tells us is probably spin. And I love that because we really don't actually know what we're dealing with him, which is I think, so exciting. Another thing that I love in this is Moro. I got to say again, Moro. Babu Cisse's performance as Moro is like the thing that this show has given me more than anything else. When the show has faltered for me, like I have just looked for Moro and I've been fine. And what I love is in this final episode, we get just like some amazing moments from him. And one of them you really miss unless you're paying attention is we get, in my opinion, explanation for what happened with his daughter. After episode 5, everybody online was like, what a shitty dad, like why would he leave his daughter behind and things like that. And I think when we hear Morrow say that that Hermit has no idea the price the company seeks, for service. I think what we're finding out about him is that, he really was that boy with a palsied limb, and the company did take him in and did rehabilitate him. And in exchange for that, they exacted a price that was far greater than he thought he was going to get into. So I really think what we see is somebody who's been kind of tortured by this company that they are now kind of enslaved by, but also, they become kind of radicalized by. And I just love his character so much. When he says he's going to burn this place to the ground, I mean, I get chills every time. And even during his confrontation with Kirsch, I feel like in this hands of less skillful actors, that would have been kind of dumb, but they're really acting during it. That's what's so amazing is even though it's this kind of almost goofy, cyborg android fight, there's real acting. Like there's this beautiful moment where Kirsch sees the keyboard and you see his eyes kind of zoom to it. And you're like, oh, they're fighting according to their physiology, right? Like Kirsch is a thinker. He's not like a combat synthetic. So for him, he's thinking about how he can get through this, and he sees the keyboard and he's like, that's my next step. Whereas Morrow is a security officer. So like what he lacks in strength outside of his cybernetic arm, he makes up for in terms of like situational awareness and tact. And you really see what these two fighting styles do with each other. And I think it just makes that scene actually really, really fun. And I love that we get Slightly's payback. He just fucking knocks him out. And you just need that, And again, like it's a tribute to it's a not a tribute. It says a lot about Hawley's writing, I think, that Morrow ends the season irredeemable. Like, I love that we did not get, like, although we understand the pain that he's been through, he did a fucking bad thing and he pays for it. And I really, really love that. I think in a less skillful situation, Morrow would have been just kind of another victim. And he is a victim. And we find that out about him, but he's a victim that fucking used it, and he used, he victimized in return. So I really think that, I think that they're just, it's, again, like the thing when this season has had ups and downs, and it's had downs for me too. The thing that has never faltered once, except for maybe episode 5, is the characters. The characters are just bulletproof for me. So many of them. And I love how in the end, when we have all the characters being rounded up and put kind of in proscenium, end of act 1 stage musical style, all in one place, I'm looking around that room and I'm like, there's not one weak link. Like, I am invested in all of these people. That's amazing. And I'm sorry, like I know people are upset about the xenomorph looking bad, whatever, like that bothers me too. I know people don't want Wendy to control it, whatever. That's totally valid. I'm not, brushing it off. But I really think you can't take from this show the fact that we have like 12 characters who are genuinely great and really well written. I think that is an amazing thing. And, at the end of the day, what we've been asking for, what Jamie's been asking for more than anybody for years now is compelling characters. And we got a couple of them with Romulus, and now we have like tons. Wonderful, I think.
And to that point, Patrick, what I also love is the original dialogue in this. The original lines, these lines that we're talking about that are sinking, that are hitting. Like I don't remember a line in any, like, aside from, this is what I've also wanted, like original dialogue. These characters say things that are meaningful, that are impactful. And to your point, yes, not everything is hitting well, or maybe perfectly, but the characters buoy this show. They really, really do. And I think that maybe we can get into the next segment if everyone has spoken.
Can I just add one thing?
Sure.
I think a testament to what you both are saying, Patrick and Jamie, about the characters is that in that fight with Kirsch and Morrow, I literally didn't know who I wanted to win. I mean, I did want Morrow eventually to win, but I also love Kirsch and I didn't want him to be taken away. Like, I didn't want him to be destroyed. I just want to see more from these characters, just more of them. Give more of all of them.
Absolutely.
Can I just say
Sure.
tiny little thing quick. I don't know if anyone else thought it as well, but when Kirsch and Morrow started to fight and they locked each other and they both struggled to move for a quick second, it reminded me of the scene in Terminator 2 when Arnie and when they first meet in the corridor with the roses and he throws each other through the wall. It just really slightly reminded me of that little scene, just where they're just struggling to fight and they're like, and they both have to use their own sort of techniques. Like we were saying, Patrick, before, about one's more of like a thinker sort of thing. And it just reminded me of that a little bit. That's all. It just popped in my head.
And with that said, we're going to move into our next segment, which is I Like Griping. And this is the chance for us to talk about things that aren't working. And we can maybe relate this to the show in general. Maybe not so much for this episode as we are in our season finale of the show. So whoever wants to start that off. Everybody loves everything.
I can go ahead and start. Some of the there's a lot of weird like time cuts and editing throughout kind of this whole series, really. Like points where like a scene with one or two characters will end and then you're like, okay, we're gonna go and see somebody else now for a minute, and it goes right back to those people 4 hours later, and it makes a lot of the time kind of it makes the timing unclear for a lot of those different scenes. So like I've had issues with some of the editing as far as that goes. Um, Not sure how I feel about the baby xenomorph. I'm sure there's a lot of people that'll probably echo that. The whole kind of Jurassic Park, baby dinosaur with the mama dinosaur. That could be cool though. Like I've read a lot of theories about, Wendy potentially kind of going down the route of like the woman in the dark from the Marvel comics, um, like this like humanoid queen of xenomorphs, which, if done right, that kind of thing could be neat. Um, but I'm just not sure. It's something I'll really have to wait and see. That's kind of been this whole show for a lot of us, I think, as well. We gotta wait and find out, about a lot of our issues or, even things we like. Um, so yeah, it's definitely something I can give a chance, but I'm moving forward cautiously with that, but I'm hopeful.
Just disclaimer before I rant. I do like this show. I thought for most of the show though, most like the prequels, the Xenomorph was treated like shit. It was shown too much. I mean the costume, whatever, the show had its budget, but just it was an afterthought. It really, again, the characters are good and the new aliens are good, but it's an alien show, and appreciate if you treat a Xenomorph not like something on the side, and then the last episode go, oh, that's right, it's an alien show. Let me treat this right. Um, the characters, they ended up being interesting, but I honestly thought for almost half of the show, the Lost Boys and some of the sub characters just weren't interesting. I thought it took the addition of the human element of Arthur and his wife and the brother to really make these hybrids more interesting because they had someone to play off of other than the too much Blade Runner shit with all the synths and talking and the technobabble. It was good, but it needed a human element and something to relate to bring them out even more and show them the good and bad of humanity. I thought it took until the end for these characters to really come together. I didn't care about some of them until except for a few episodes. Um, those are probably two of my biggest gripes.
I'm also going to pay a little disclaimer that I do like the series. There's bits of it I like, and there's bits I don't like also. Um, I think the bits that I don't like are just silly things that just they weren't thought out very well. So, like for example, the scene where the guests are all eating dinner, and then the Xena goes and kills them all, but they're all sitting down, just like they've been posed and killed. It just really, really aggravated me. I'm like, that's just ridiculous, isn't it? And then all that sort of, it just didn't make any sense. That was just really, really annoying for me. And we weren't aware that Aid Edmondson was an android, were we?
No.
No. See, that to me is alien, because you don't know who's an android. And then, so like when we first meet Ash, we didn't know he was an android. And then he was one. Bishop was later discovered quite early on in the film that he was an android, but we didn't know until we saw the blood. And that to me feels like alien, because I had no idea that Aid Edmondson was going to be an android, and I really, really, really liked that part. I thought that was brilliant. That was well executed, and that felt very alien to me.
Even Call in Resurrection is done the same way. Like, you don't find out
Yes.
she's a droid until the end.
Exactly, and I think that's where Romulus failed, because obviously we knew straight away who the android was, and they had like this little chip thing in the side of their neck, and it just, I don't know, it just didn't really feel like an android. As much as I loved, Andy as a character, he's my favorite in the whole film. You know, that part in Alien Earth that's exactly how I would have wanted it to have been. I was like, oh my god, I didn't know he was an android, so I liked that little bit. And I obviously the portrayal of the xenomorph again is it's really, really bad. And I was worried when I heard about this and it was going to start that the Xeno was just going to be a side character because they wanted to explore everything else. When I think really what they should have done is, this is in the alien world, but we're not bringing the Xenos in. Or maybe they just bring an egg just to show that they are around. We want to explore other creatures in the universe that Weyland-Yutani are after. We know they exist. We don't need to see them. But let's just focus on these and spend more energy looking at the image, looking at the deep lumbar core and the flies, all that sort of stuff. That's what I would have been happy with that if I'd have known going into the start of the series that they were saying we're not really going to explore the xenomorph very much. Is, you might get a little snippet of it, but we're mainly focusing on other stuff that Weyland-Yutani are after. I think that would have worked really, really well. There's quite a lot of other stuff as well that I didn't particularly like, but the main gripe for me is the Xeno. That is the main gripe for me, and I think the reason why it looks odd is because the head of the Xeno is on top of the actor's head, so the neck looks really, really, really long. So if you brought that down, it might look a little bit better. But I just think the neck is absolutely massive, and it looks like a guy in the suit. And I know that the previous Alien movies, there was a guy in the suit, but you couldn't really tell. It just worked, and this just looked like it was like if I just wore an alien suit on the show now, it'd look ridiculous. That's the biggest gripe for me is the Xeno. That is the big problem for me. But apart from that, I really enjoyed the series. I thought it was really good.
So, Xander writes in the chat that basically to me, it is so divorced from what Alien is. It's not an evolution of the IP. At its core, Holly doesn't understand what Alien is, and you can't fundamentally change/evolve the IP if you don't understand the foundation. He says that's just my take. All of this is super valid. I agree. He also says that maybe I'm just having a first reaction, but I really tried with this season, but it was just disappointing. And I think, as we keep saying here on the shows, and I keep hearing you guys say as I listen to these podcasts, like, it is okay to be critical of it. It's really okay. I myself literally have the same exact feelings as you do, Ross, and as I've heard. I just, the Xeno needed more love, needed to be treated with the reverence that it should have been, I think. That's a good point too. Like, this is me now talking, not for Xander anymore. I'm just saying for me, like the Xeno needed more reverence to be given to that. And I don't know. I thought that it looked a little goofy at times. It wasn't as graceful as it typically is. And I don't really love the idea of knowing that it can be kind of told what to do. I miss the chaos, and I miss its own calculation and its own. We get that a little bit in the beginning of the show. When, one of my favorite parts that you see is when the Xeno is hiding in the art sculpture, before it attacks the dinner party. That part is so nefarious and scary and manipulating. That is the Xeno for me. We don't get any of that with the Pneumomorph at all. And I just miss that. So that's Xander's first, and then my takes.
Yeah, I won't gripe on the Xeno either now that you all said it, because I also agree, and I think they Jurassic Worlded it a little bit. Before I keep going though, I do have to say that pardon all my gripes, I do really like the show because FX owns us now, so we all have to say that. Micah, you missed it, but you're supposed to say that you still like the
He's
show.
joking.
Um, no, I seriously, I'm joking.
Well, if I go missing, you guys know what happened.
No, I think obviously I've aired some of my gripes throughout our live shows. I think for this episode, what really took me out of it a little bit is I wish we got a little more into Wendy's power of being able to control technology like on the island. I just wish that there maybe could have been like an extra scene or something where she was like patched in, and I just feel like it's a little confusing, right? Like what she can and cannot do. Like obviously she can control the screens, and then you find out that she can open the alien doors and things like that. Um, but I'm just like, does she have a transmitter on her? Like, is it something like obviously maybe that's supposed to be mystery, and maybe they won't reveal that at all. But I just wish we got a little bit more context into that, especially when she freezes Adam Ein's character. I was just like, whoa, that was a little too much. I'm just like, I wanted there to be a little bit more conflict there. It could have been a cool reveal if they not had a wrestling match fight again, but like maybe she stabbed him with something, and then he, is spitting out white milk and is, that's how you find out, sort of a thing. I wish it would have been a little bit more like that. I thought they got away too easily in that part of it, and so that just took me out a little bit. So I wish there was just a little bit more context there as to why that's happening or how she's able to do that. It's cool, but yeah, it just left me a little lost in that part a little bit, and so. I don't know. It's cool that they're building on these things and they're giving them these powers, and them finding themselves, and Wendy having this awesome relationship with her brother, and them growing in that way, and her revealing that she's not Wendy, she's not Marcy, I don't know what I am type of thing, and so like there's some really like deep layered things that we're learning about them, and that are brought to the forefront of just thinking about humanity in a little way, and thinking about like ourselves growing up as kids, and having an identity crisis at any time in your life, and like figuring out what you're really passionate about, or um, what you find true value in. And so anyway, yeah, with that, that just took me out, and so I'm really excited, like I said, for season two. I'm just really can't wait for like what Weyland-Yutani does, and how like Morrow's character, and Arthur, and those things all play a pivotal role. Like I don't want them to kill all these people off. Like I'm interested in what the Xeno's gonna do. But yeah, I'm just, it still leaves me like very, very excited. Last thing I'll say, the xenomorph could have been slimier in this episode. It's humid out. There's mold growing everywhere. It's in the woods, or it's in the rainforest or whatever. Like have some more slime and stuff. I wanted more slime.
It's using a
Ah,
really good deodorant.
yeah, hey, antiperspirant. It
Yeah,
found
exactly.
something.
Xeno
It's
deodorant.
Dr. Squatch has got to get on that. They got the
Dr.
soap.
Squatch.
We just need the
Yeah,
No,
right,
antiperspirant.
get that patented right now.
They already
Dr.
are. I got an
Squatch.
ad for it today.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Send us
If
some
you check our
soap.
subreddit, we got some people buying some right now.
I want some
Um,
soap. Send us some soap.
Yeah, please. Lots of great stuff in our chat. I want to get to one in a moment, but before I do, and before I gripe, I do want to go back to what Perry was mentioning about Wendy's whole, little soliloquy about identity, because I think that's one of my favorite parts in the whole series. And there's a gripe coming, don't worry, but I want to say something nice.
It's okay. It's
I
for
love.
FX.
It's true. Yeah, we don't lose our money. I love when she says, "Don't say it's complicated," because that's what powerless people say to excuse themselves.
Yes.
I just think
Yeah.
that sounds like something that a really astute kid would say watching grown-ups. And I love how it's like in this episode, Wendy finally kind of grows up. Like she stands on her own 2 feet and she kind of knows who she is in not knowing who she is. She's like, I'm actually not what you told me I was, you know? And I love that now she's able to see the grown-ups for what they are, which is they're actually they're the kids. Like they're the ones who have no idea what they're doing. And I just love that moment. I just think that the alien itself is just really poorly deployed, like we've said every single episode. And it doesn't take away from the craftsmanship and from, I think the motion performance is wonderful. I think well, hit or miss, but pretty good overall. I think that the issue is just that the design changes really didn't work for me in general throughout the whole series. And also just the demystifying. And this was something when before the show came out, we were talking about what our like must-haves were. One of them was characters for me. One of them was no callbacks for me, which I'll get to in a second. But then the third one was I want the alien to have like primacy. I want to have all these other species be really interesting and really scary, and then to have like the Xeno XX121 kind of assert itself as being like the actual baddie in the closet at the end of this series. And we got like very much not that. We got pretty much the opposite of it. And that's kind of frustrating, At the same time, it is a different take on this. And I think, people in the chat are saying this as well. I think it's a much more enjoyable series if you can look at it as almost like a side story, like kind of a piece of expanded universe lore, and not look at it as kind of seeking to redefine what the Xenomorph XX121 is in popular culture. Because I don't think the show's really doing that. But I do think that Hawley is just trying to take the themes of Alien that a lot of them were implicit in the original films and make them explicit and turn it into this transhumanist tale. And I think in the part of the cost of doing that is the alien got kind of sidelined. That being said, a couple things that make me feel a little better about it. One is that Hawley has said in a couple of interviews now that it's not going to end well. So like, he's like hearing people's criticism about this, which is valid, obviously. And he's like, I think people are forgetting that this is ultimately a horror show and that, we're not actually seeing a happy ending for these characters or for the relationship with the creatures, because the creature is still a horror creature, So I do think in future seasons we will see some pretty fucked up repercussions of this. I don't think that Wendy is on her way to be a lady in black or the Xeno Queen or whatever. I don't think that's really coming. Yeah. There's a lot of things that I hope don't happen at this point. Like there's a lot of chances for Hawley to make me not love the show the way that I do, depending on how things go in the future. But where it is now, I do firmly love it. And again, it's the characters. And one other thing quick, just not really great, but in terms of callbacks, Romulus, for all of the wonderful things that it did, I really feel like all of us can agree that the very overt callbacks happening quite a lot are a really difficult part of it. Like they really take me out of the movie. They become kind of metatextual. They become, it's really distracting for me personally watching it. And I love that Hawley didn't do that. I love that we got 8 hours of a story, and there are callbacks in it, and they're really, really deep cuts and very, very few and far between. And one of them, I want to give special shout out to Cheganescu, who's in our chat right now, points out that the orchid, the flower monster, was featured in a Predator Universe comic. They were saying that they had a feeling about it, and then something in the finale proved it to them. So that's something that we can maybe revisit during our lore section that's about to happen. After Jamie goes. But I think what I love is we didn't get any get away from her, you bitch moments. We actually got really the actual opposite of that. We have our comfort food, and now we have our fucking peyote desert mushroom, whatever the fuck that was, trip that really got us out of our comfort zone in every single way. And I think, Xander brings up a lot of great points in his complaints about it, his gripes about it, which I think are valid. And I definitely see why people say those things. To me, those things actually in some ways are kind of why it works, I think, because it was a chance to not just have there's a beacon, we're going on to find out what it is. We get there, somebody gets face hugged, the crew gets stalked down the hallway. Like this was something that just really was nothing like that. And I think I love that because now in the future we can kind of interrogate, you know, are you an alien person? Are you an aliens person? Or are you an alien Earth person? And those are really three very different things. And I kind of feel like that helps.
Well, well stated. I think that. Go ahead, Perry.
Oh, all I was gonna add is if someone in the chat remembers it because it stuck in my brain. But who's the Marine with the red hair, the girl?
Siberian.
Siberian.
Siberian, yeah.
There's a very, very subtle aliens line that she says when they're walking through the hallway. Does anyone remember that? Because I can't,
I remember that
is
moment. I
it,
don't remember the line.
yeah, it was like, I was like, oh, they said that in Aliens, but it wasn't like a big line in Aliens. I
Stay
can't
frosty.
remember. No, no, no. It was like they're animals, man, or it was like they can't be coming out of the walls or something. It was one of those lines.
It's definitely not bad.
It was something like that though.
There was,
Someone in
yeah,
the
you're
chat,
right. There was something
yeah,
subtle, but it was a subtle
it was
callback.
totally. I was like, oh, that's Aliens, but it wasn't so in your face that I was like, I liked it. I was like, oh, that made me think of Aliens. I was like, that's really cool that they did that, and it was like in conversation with the other three guys. Anyway, if someone remembers,
That's how
please,
it
for
should
the
be
love
done.
of God.
People in the
Yeah.
chat are pointing out that I think the male Marine or security officers does say stay frosty.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, he does. Oh,
Wow,
yeah,
well, I
really?
missed
Wow.
that
Yeah, he
one.
does.
I
Yeah,
missed
Wow.
that too.
Totally missed that.
yeah, they
See?
do. When they're
But I
when they're
love that
walking
we
through.
missed that. Like, I'll get to my gripe in a second, but my issues with Romulus weren't that they were callbacks. It was aping other things. It didn't have its own agency. It didn't have its own identity in terms of dialogue. 95% of that dialogue was dialogue we had heard in other films. What I love about Alien Earth is that, again, 95% of the dialogue is new or things that we haven't heard, or really searing, indicting, sobering, punched up lines that I loved. In terms of gripes, just to, I'll reflect what everyone said in terms of the xenomorph. And I think for me, and I said this before, probably a couple of years ago on whatever show we were recording, but I think Hawley is the right guy for this show. So I want to be careful how I say this, but I also think if you're going to tell a story about Alien, you need to be interested in the alien. You need to find that alien scary. It is very clear to me that there was lack of interest in this alien, and I felt the same way in Alien Covenant. I didn't feel that way in Romulus. I definitely think that there was an interest. The alien looked great for the most part. It just was static. It didn't seem at all a threat. It just seemed like this cartoony thing that we shot at, as opposed to the threat that Ridley Scott, James Cameron, and David Fincher made. It felt like a threat, whereas with Alien Earth, it just felt kind of goofy. Although in the beginning, and I think we all talked about this, when I was running down the corridors, it looked black and like obsidian black. That was fucking scary. That thing was, and then they lost it. And then it totally just slipped away, and it turned into this thing of like a good cosplay. And you don't want your alien looking like a good cosplay, again, for me, and we're going to get to this maybe when we talk about final thoughts on the series, but this kept the show from being great to me. The show would have been great if this alien would have been well portrayed, but it wasn't. But I'll get into that at the last segment. I love Wendy. I love all of the characters. I do have a problem with Wendy sort of always doing the right thing, always, oh, I can do this, and that's a problem for me. And I think the wonders of Ripley is that she was flawed and fallible, and she knew that about herself. We knew that about her, and that's what made her great, were her flaws, that she was human. I know that Wendy is not human. I know that she's a hybrid or whatever's going on up there, or in there. But I just don't like this idea that when you empowering a female character means they can do everything and do no wrong. And I want to see Wendy be flawed, because if she is a hybrid, if she is a human consciousness in this body, then she is also a flawed person. And I want to see that more. And I just have a hard time when characters are written and they're afraid to make them be flawed or fallible or make a mistake. And I want to see Wendy make a mistake. I want to see Wendy be more relatable. And that doesn't mean, and that's different than likable. I hate the term likable because I think that that's, especially like with female characters, we don't need to like people. but I do think she needs to be relatable, and I don't necessarily relate to her. However, I think she had some great lines. I love her saying, "If this is people, I don't want to be people." I think that that is a fucking amazing line, and I think she had some really great moments. I just don't. I want her to be a little bit less impenetrable, honestly. And that would probably do it for my gripes right now. And I don't know, Patrick, do you think we need to go into the lore, or should we just go into final thoughts?
Let's
Jamie,
go to final thoughts.
Okay.
And maybe as part of that, if people have lore, they are welcome
Okay.
to bring it up. Hold on, what were you going to say?
sorry, I was just gonna add really quick if I can. Why are you feeling that an android needs to be like relatable?
Well, probably maybe the relatable term. I just feel like Wendy, as the primary character, even though it's arguable, her and Morrow kind of vie for that spot. Um, Maybe I shouldn't have used the term relatable. I think Wendy needs to be less perfect.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, can I just address that real quick before we go into final thoughts? Because I wasn't thinking about that, Jamie. So thank you for bringing that to my attention and like having that idea to think about. I kind of watched the show watching Wendy as someone who was testing this new life, and she's not an android. She's not a person. We don't know what she is yet, and I wonder if we get to see more mistakes and more scary shit from her, like stuff that is what we might consider morally wrong. Like she might not make all the good decisions next season because I feel like I said earlier tonight, they're just now kind of being who they are. And maybe we don't know yet what her mistakes are going to be or what her flaws are going to be.
Oh, for
I
sure.
agree. I think I want to see more of that because supposedly she comes from a human consciousness too. But at the same time, we don't actually know if she is a soul of a person or whatever in this body. She could literally just be a collection of memories. That's a very convincing facsimile. Like you talk about a lot, Patrick. Um, and I think a really good moment with that, where we're confronted with that, is when they first see their own graves. And if you notice, Wendy Marcy doesn't go fucking anywhere near her stone at all. She is very, I'm not going over there. That's not us. Like she denial a little bit if she is Marcy, but then she's completely she's killing Marcy too by staying away from it and not owning that life too, I think. And I'm excited to see where her character goes, how she changes, what mistakes she will eventually make.
And I think part of that too is you see her talking to the xenomorph or communicating with it. You see her doing all these things with the computer and the screens and moving things here. None of the other hybrids are doing that. And I think part of that is just seems a little bit out of balance. Like she's Wonder Woman, and everyone else is sort of like. I just want to see a little more equality there, as opposed to this like X-Men hybrid who can kind of do everything. That was my problem with the Rain in Romulus. Oh, let's just freeze the tail and pull the thing off, and it worked. Like I just want a little bit more, something a little bit more down to earth. And again, this is one season. It might be 3 to 5. I have no means made my mind up about Wendy. This was just something that I thought I want to see a little bit more of these other hybrids do what she does, as opposed to Wendy, the Star Child, do everything. That was sort of a little bit of my issue, but I love her character, so like my issue is this big. But we're
Yeah.
griping, so that's my
I want
gripe.
to see her not be able to control the alien.
Yes.
What
I
if
would
it
love-
rebels?
Yeah.
Like,
I
what if
would
it doesn't
love-
listen to her?
That's her mistake. I would love it if it's her biggest mistake is trusting the Xeno. And it completely go. I mean, that would be a way for them to make it horror again and have that twist and bring the xenomorph back into the limelight and have it be like the smartest, the strong, the perfect organism.
Yeah, well, it would show its intelligence. It would show that the xenomorph has been using Wendy all along.
Yes.
It would really show its intelligence.
Yeah.
And what I was going to say, Jamie, what you were saying earlier is that maybe the fact that the reason why they didn't give Wendy all those features is because the other characters were sort of portraying those features as well. We got like Nib, she's quite really unhinged and she can lose her temper quite easy. You know, you got like Slightly and the others, you know, one's quite emotional, one's quite funny and doesn't take things very seriously, whereas one's quite what was his name? Was it Tools, I think? When he got killed by the fly. He was very quite excited about doing grown-up stuff and I'm going to work in the lab. This is really fun. So maybe it's because each of these hybrids had their own sort of personalities that Noah Hawley was trying to portray. So like this one's quite angry and volatile. But I do get what you're saying. I would like to see more from. I'd like to see Wendy evolve, but I'd like to see her get out of control
Yeah.
as well. I would kind of like to see her malfunction because these are new. This hasn't been done before. It's like Ash. Didn't Bishop say that the E2s were always twitchy, which is what I thought Aid Edmondson's character was going to do when he started folding his clothes. And he was going to. I don't know why. I just had that feeling that he was going to just flip out and lose his shit like Ash did. But yeah, I am in agreeing with you that I would like to see more from Wendy, and it's the whole xenomorph thing as well, because like for example, like we're seeing way too much of it, and like the whole point of when you see the chestburster for the first time and everyone's chasing it is because they're trying to find something really really small, and then when it does reveal itself, it's massive. And that's what's scary. It's like, where the hell did that come from? What are we dealing with now? And although that everybody knows Alien, everybody knows what happens. And I think maybe that's why Noah Hawley did it like this, is because it's like, well, everyone knows what happens. It's like the Batman story. Everyone knows the story of Bruce Wayne. We don't need to keep retelling that his parents have died and all this sort of thing. So it's a similar thing to that. So maybe that's the reason why he's done it this way, because everyone knows what's going to happen. But I think what maybe he's not realizing is that the characters in the show don't know what's going to happen. And I think that's where he's gone wrong with that, in my opinion. I think there are certain stones that have been set in place, or certain narratives and ideas and IPs that are put in place for a specific reason, and they always work. So you get the chest burster, and then the big monster comes later on. And I think maybe what I probably would have done is maybe they should have just left the Xeno towards the end. So have a lot of all these creatures and stuff at the beginning, and then it shows an egg, and then it shows someone that's been a facehugger attached to them, so as though it is building up in the background, but it will come later on, and then that's when it gets really scary, because it's like, they've got to fight all these other creatures, but we know the xenomorph is coming, but the characters don't. And I think that would have been quite cool.
I definitely think that would have been great to save the Xeno for the very end and to have it be like this. I mean, it's not my show, but that's definitely what I would have done, personally. And to Jamie's point about Wendy, I definitely see what you're saying there. I think part of what I'm keeping in mind with that is that we are seeing she's basically like, so she was the special one, right? She was the prototype. Like it wasn't until whatever was going on with Wendy's brain was discovered that they even figured out that they could do this hybrid thing. So like there's definitely something different about her. And I think to varying degrees, the rest of the children who were chosen seem to be lacking some, X factor that she had. And I think that's part of why she's so kind of different among them. But I do think she's maybe a little too different. Like it's a little bit too elevated. That being said, she is like plugged into the Prodigy network, and she's a piece of Prodigy technology. So I think it kind of makes sense that she would be almost like omnipotent in that setting, like if she were capable, because she's part of the network that everything's running on. And what will be really interesting to see is what if she gets somehow captured and taken somewhere else, by these Yutani troops that are storming the beaches, and what's going to happen when she's no longer in this, primal control. I think that is a recipe for some really interesting stuff next season, and maybe for where some of the other, sort of capabilities of the rest of the group might come to the fore more, and where maybe she'll be a little more fallible. I think the next season, there's so many different ways that Holly could take it, and so many of them are so interesting to me. I'm personally very excited to like get away from Prodigy. I feel like we've spent a lot of time on that island, and it's a great situation and setting. But like, I'm ready to not be in that same hallway anymore. Like we can leave it, And so I guess maybe this is kind of a good segue to our kind of closing thoughts. And I'll kind of just start off just by reiterating that I'm just tickled by the fact that we have so many great characters to care about that have given us so many new things to think about and so many new conversations to have and helped us to kind of challenge and come to new realizations about what Alien means to us. And I think as somebody who has spent, my life essentially since I was 8 thinking about and talking about Alien more than any other thing that's, not family, I have found myself continually perplexed and challenged by this season. And I have found myself having more conversations with people than I've ever had in my life. I mean, to the point where it's been exhausting. I mean, Jamie and I have been talking about how it's crazy. It's like I wake up in the morning and I have like 30 or 40 messages from people who watched the episode the night before, and like everybody wants to argue and talk and debate. And it's as tiring as it can get. I mean, this is what we live for, This is why we do this shit. Like this is it, right? A huge part of the world for the last 2 months has been thinking about and talking about this franchise that we love so dearly and bringing their own thoughts to it and bringing their own beliefs and their own fears to it. And the world of Alien is so wide open at the moment that I think I really feel like Hawley gave us a big gift with that. I think it took someone like Hawley to make something like this. And by that, I mean, he's not Fede Alvarez, right? Jamie and I talked to Noah Hawley today for quite a while. He's a wonderful guy. He's not Fede Alvarez, right? Like when you talk to Fede Alvarez, Fede like wants to be your best friend. He wants to share all of his like deep cut nerdy trivia stuff. And he's just like he was a listener of the show before he made the movie. I mean, it's things like Fede's like a big Alien nerd fan. Noah Hawley's not. No, Hawley's a storyteller, and that's, I'm not saying that like it's a pejorative thing or a meliorative thing. I'm just saying that's kind of what he sees himself as. And Alien is a franchise that he's always cared a lot about, that he's wanted to tell a story in, but he's not like steeped in kind of like this is what Alien looks like and this is what Alien doesn't look like. And I think the weakest parts of Romulus again were the parts where the super nerd and Fede Alvarez came out and said like we really need to do this, like the fans are going to really like this, and I love the fact that we got Romulus for what it is. And I think I will always love Romulus. I love the experience of going to see it with all of you. And I love the fact that I can throw it on and have a great time. But I love that it set the stage for Alien Earth to like obliterate a lot of what I personally think belongs in an Alien story, And I might not agree with all of it. I don't agree with a lot of it. I think that the treatment of the alien is ridiculous in general in this whole thing. But like so many other things are so interesting that I'm really, really happy that we have a wide open sky to venture into now. And I can't wait to see what happens next.
I can go next. I've really loved this show overall. It's challenged me. It's kept me guessing, kept me thinking. It's challenged much like what you said, Patrick. It's challenged my idea of what Alien is, and like I came into this as an Alien super fan and as a Noah Hawley super fan, and those two things that I love together, like I'm gonna find if there's something I don't like that comes out of that, I'm gonna find a way to sort of come back around to it or look into ways that maybe I'm not looking at this the right way. So I'm excited to sit with this show for the amount of time we'll have until the next season. Um and then to look back at it with the context of the next season. Because we haven't really been able to do that with the films, really. Like, you look at context from Aliens, it's sometimes hard to apply to the logic of the first film. A lot of the changes and like the creatures and stuff. But with his TV show and multiple seasons, everything that he adds onto it from here on out is applicable to the first season. So that's going to be really interesting to view from here on out. But yeah, I love this show. I've been having great conversations with so many people and having the best time in fandom and with you guys. And it's been great. I've been having a blast.
Yeah, to kind of echo what you said, Patrick. And one of the things about Romulus and Alien Earth. No matter how much some of the super ultra nerds hate certain things or even hate it, the fact that the public is talking about it is big. I mean, Romulus kind of gave us Alien Earth and Alien Isolation too. I mean, I'm a big sports fan. One of my favorite NFL analysts is Mina Kimes, and she is doing NFL comps with Alien Earth screenshots. That's more important than me bitching about the treatment of the Xeno when the regular, the everyone from the outside are watching it. That's what matters. I think that's really cool. Again, some stuff that bothered me might not bother someone else. Like Patrick, I don't completely agree with you about the characters. I think some of them are kind of forgettable, but overall, this show is. I always appreciate someone doing something different, even when it misses. And I mean, the fact we have an Alien TV show is fucking nuts. I never thought if you would have told me 20 years ago we're gonna have an Alien TV show, I'd be like, the fuck are you talking about? It's never gonna happen. Um, that alone is just it's just mind blowing. Having friends who never watched it before and texting me, "Hey, that episode was dope," and like this, that's great. It's other than just talking to the us hardcore fans. That's really important for the IP, and I think it's really growing. It's the first time it has in a while, which is important because then we can get more risky things like this. Movies, maybe more comics that'll take chances instead of just looping the same stuff over and over again. And to me, that's really what means the most to me is seeing it. For a while, it felt like this IP, it was just us talking about it. It's just as people in the chats, just as people online. And now everyone is, and that's awesome. And as for the show itself, I'm hoping next season we get more Weyland-Yutani. I think that's really where and I don't know how many seasons we're going to get. But I think the next season, the proverbial shit's really going to hit the fan. I'm with you, Ross. I think the Xeno is just fucking with Wendy to get what it wants, and it's going to peace out and fuck everything up. Yeah.
That's what I
But
hope.
I hope so. But overall, this show was quite the roller coaster as TV series are. Even though most of you guys hated episode 5, I fucking loved it and might be the one I watched the most. Sorry, everybody.
Yes.
So,
Wow.
but I loved 5. I thought it was a good, really good season finale. I'm not the biggest Pearl Jam fan. I was selfishly hoping for a Prodigy song to end it, but maybe they're saving that for season
Smack my
2.
bitch up.
Smack My Bitch Up or Firestarter. Maybe he's saving for that, like for an episode of the downfall of Boy Cavalier. I don't know. But to sum up my rambling, glad it's here. I'm glad it exists. And mortal words of Busta Rhymes. Give me some more.
I just want to say one tiny thing. I'm pretty sure, and I might be wrong, I don't know if the people watching live will know, but I'm almost certain that there is a character that's very similar in the Alien comics. I think her name's called Eloise, and she controlled the hybrids as well, and she was part android, part xenomorph, and all that sort of stuff. And she controlled the Xenos exactly the same way Wendy does. I'm almost certain of it. So I wonder if Hawley got any sort of inspiration from that at all. Because she was literally controlling the Xenos and turning them on other people and using them as pets. And like Ripley said in Resurrection, you can't teach it tricks. Well, actually, you can. So, yeah, I'd be curious to see whether he was inspired by Eloise from the comics.
I can follow up and just say that I obviously really enjoyed this season. I really it's definitely given me a lot of things to think about and a lot of uh, deeper meanings to things that we've seen in the older franchise films, and just seeing like Holly's interpretation of that, which is great. And I agree with all of you guys on like I can't believe we have a TV show now. It's been something I always talked about is like we're as super fans ourselves, we're always sort of chasing the first high of like seeing um the space jockey and them going into the derelict spacecraft and that first reveal, the chest burster, all of that. Uh, we know that it won't get to that level because of what we know now. But what's great is we have a different sort of transformed version of that in this TV show, and to have all of these new things coming together to bring us a wholly different story. Like, I think it is kind of cool that Holly maybe isn't like a super nerd of Alien. He's a storyteller, Patrick, to your point. And so he's going to tell the story the best way that he knows how in a television setting. I mean, he's obviously a studio guy. Fargo's great. I haven't watched Legion, sorry, Jamie, but I know you love that show, and I know there are great elements of that show as well. And so it's very exciting that we have this in our zeitgeist now, and I can go to work and I have these conversations with my work colleagues about Alien. Gogol, to your point, I'm like watching the Vikings play football, and then there's like a commercial for Alien Earth, and I'm just like, what is happening right now, you know? um that's really cool, and I've loved that my whole journey, even coming onto this podcast, has allowed me to meet really awesome people and have really awesome friends, all of you guys, all over the country and all over the world. Like, I've loved that we've been able to do that. Yeah, Ross, and like meeting you, Gogol, just getting another chance to have you on and conversate with you about Alien is always a pleasure, man. And it's been a really wild ride and fun ride since Romulus, and now I'm just excited for like what more opportunities we're gonna have with this show coming out. Hopefully 5 seasons like Holly wants it to be. And yeah, I'm just loving that we get to sit down and have these conversations, and we get to try to figure out, more understanding about ourselves and humanity through these characters and all of those good things. So it's just been really, really a lovely experience. So I'm pumped.
I'll just say for my final thoughts about the show, I am incredibly grateful to have all these characters to think about all the time and to wonder about their motivations and all of that. Pretty much the same thing as a lot of you guys were saying. Um, it's just fascinating to kind of come up with my own theories, and I keep asking Patrick annoyingly while he's trying to pay attention, like, "Oh, what is this? Like, what if this happened?" Or like, "Oh, what do you think about this?" But I guess I will leave off with all hail the T.S. Ellis forever. She is my queen, and I want to see so much more of that. More of that. But also
Yes.
let's fix the Xeno next time around. Okay. Thanks. Bye.
I guess my final thoughts are I think that this show was really good. I think it was really enjoyable. I don't think it was great. But I think that there are great things in it, like the characters. I'm excited to go back into a rewatch. Right now, I'm just, again, we've discussed this. It's been Alien Earth for Perfect Organism since January, February. I need a break. I need to go back to the OT and like talk
Mhm.
about things that really bring me joy. But I did really enjoy the show. Again, the episode 8 was one of my favorites. Just circle back a little bit on Wendy, just to kind of clarify a couple things. Where you see all the hybrids sort of malfunctioning or making mistakes and doing all of their things, but Wendy's the only one who doesn't. Wendy's the only one who everything she does is perfect. And I think that for me was a little bit off balance. But again, I think we're going to see more. We're just seeing the beginning of this character. She's in the beginning of her life. So I will not make any judgments on who she is or what she's going to do. But I would like to see more equanimity with her and the other hybrids as things go forward, because that will I think bond them a little bit more together, because you saw Nibs and Smee and all these just kind of making fuck up after fuck up after fuck up, sort of essentially being human, really, lying and being deceptive or kind of having mental issues. Those are very human things, and Rip and Wendy didn't do those. But aside from that, bigger picture, I'm excited for the future. I really hope that whoever the director is for the next Alien film for Romulus 2 is listening to this, but also watching the show and knowing that what we're responding to and to what Dave said, like we have this show because in some ways of Alien Romulus. We have Isolation 2 because of Alien Romulus, but I think Romulus, the people behind Romulus could really use, if they're listening, that we love good characters. We love characters who are their own people. We love characters who have their own things to say and not aping things that have come before. We want something that's not a greatest hits of things that we've gone before. There's nothing in Alien Earth, even with the little callbacks that we see here and there, which are beautifully placed, nothing is a repeat of things that we've seen before. And this is what makes Alien shine. This is what's going to bring me back to Alien Earth. And you want people going back. You want people on Hulu or wherever, Disney Plus, rewatching these shows because Disney's going to pay attention to that. And I really hope that they're paying attention. I hope Steve Asbell is paying attention. I hope even Fede, who's not directing Romulus 2, I hope they're paying attention in terms of what good characters are, what good dialogue is, what good themes are. And I think what I love about the original trilogy, I find in Alien Earth, these themes. I find in Blade Runner in some ways, which I know Gogol you're not a big fan of. But like what does it mean to be human? What does it mean for these hybrids
I love
to
Blade
be...
Runner. I just don't need it all. I don't need it in my Alien.
I hear you. Yeah.
I love Blade Runner. Thanks to you guys, by the way.
Yeah. I hear you. But yeah, I think really season 1 opens wide Alien. Like you can do a lot of things and you can do them well without having to rely on the first 2 films in the Alien series, and Holly is a testament to that. So I'm going to hand it to Patrick to close us out with a special announcement.
Yes, my friend. Yeah, we got a couple quick announcements. One is stay tuned if you're listening to the audio version of this because we have Noah Hawley on. We also have Sydney Chandler coming back. We have Erina James coming on for the first time. We have Jonathan Ajayi coming back. We have Lily Newmark coming back, and we also have the rest of our interview with Babu Sise. So how's that for a freaking stacked group of people to have on the end of this episode? And then a second announcement is in a few weeks you're going to get one massive, we're calling it a megasode, where we're going to have all of the interviews from this season in one place, in one kind of seamless listening experience, dialoguing with the score that Russo wrote. And it's going to be like literally about 6 hours long. And it's just going to be kind of a bit of an audio documentary that we want to leave you all with as we kind of close this chapter on Alien Earth and move into whatever's coming next. It will hopefully live there as a nice way for you to kind of go back and really hear the story of how this thing was made. Because I think, regardless of how you feel about it, it's an amazing, piece of work and it's a real interesting document. The third announcement, which is the big announcement, which thank you everybody in the chat who's been reminding me that I still have to get back to, is we're keeping this format. So going forward, most of our episodes will be recorded live on YouTube, including just regular nitty-gritty, discussions, roundtables, you name it. There will be some that are not recorded live, but if you want to do this, make this a regular thing, we record typically Tuesdays, sometimes Wednesdays around 9:00 on the East Coast. And if you have that subscribe button clicked and you have the bell icon, activated, I'm gonna have to get better at that if we're doing more YouTube. You're gonna join us, and we would love it. Tonight we set a new record for the amount of simultaneous people who are in here with us. We almost hit 50. We were close to it, and we are so grateful for all of you. There's so many friends, like IRL friends that we know through Patreon, people who I've never met before. We started doing these live streams, but now like I look for your names every time we're in here. You've just been the best. Blood Hut, Poop Vein, our buddy Oscar. Like seriously, there's just so many great people. I'm not even getting into it right now, but the point being, we want you there with us, and we have really enjoyed this format, and we hope you have too. So stay tuned and make sure that you are subscribed and getting notified because we're going to be doing a lot more on YouTube going forward. And the last thing that I want to close with personally is a huge thank you to our live chat for being. Oh, Jamie has something to close with.
No, I just want to let everyone know who's listening to the show either in YouTube. We're taking a month off at least because we need a break. So that's all I want to say.
We are, but we do have.
We're doing the same thing,
that, but at some point,
a big break too, man. We're doing the same. We're doing the same thing after our Alien Earth episode. That's it. It's done.
It's been a lot, and also make sure you listen to the Hive Mind. Make sure you check out Dave's content on socials. Dave, you want to tell them?
Thank you guys. Yes, we're on everything. Apple Music, Spotify, Hopefully
Your
we'll
mom.
do YouTube. Your
I was
mom.
gonna say
Well,
Perry's mom's camcorder.
well, get off mine because I
Here we
just got off
go.
yours. So if you want to listen to a completely opposite type of podcast, listen to give us a listen. Xenomorphing a Hive Mind podcast. Holden was on. Prater was on. Hopefully get all of you guys and girls on at some point. Trying to spread the love in our wonderful misfit family. But yeah, give us a listen. It's a kind of like a sitting in a brewery, having some beer and some chips and talking alien. So
Yeah,
check it out.
definitely.
And
It's a great time.
We're
really
yes,
at
thank
50.
you.
So
50 for,
what were you saying?
we hit 50 for like a minute.
Did we?
Yes.
Oh,
Back to
shoot.
46.
Okay, well
Oh,
then
yeah.
okay, well then we hit 50. My last thing just briefly is looking at the chat. I was saying this to you guys earlier. You have been so nice and so supportive. There has been plenty of disagreement about things all season long, and yet there has been no fighting at all. There's been no name calling. And I've been watching this chat this whole time because, like Boy Cavalier, I struggle with ADHD and I tend to pay attention to a lot of things. And I've been watching this chat as we've been recording, and you have been nothing but kind and sweet to each other. So thank you so much for doing that. Thank you for being nice to us. You know, Jamie and I have talked at some length about how there's been some kind of mean comments online about us, you know, our opinions, our appearance, what have you, and none of that has been in this live stream. You guys have just been wonderful. So thank you for modeling really good behavior. Thank you for sticking with us during this crazy, crazy time. And Jamie, thank you for having me on this show all those years ago, and all the rest of us. Dave, like, I mean, man, we've been friends for such a freaking long time. This is a family.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, Jamie, that as we're celebrating 10 years, we have celebrated it with,
10 years, wow.
30 interviews with cast and crew, with going to California to cover stuff in person again for the second year in a row. It's just been amazing. And we are really, really blessed and really, really happy and really lucky to share this journey with all of you. So thank you. We sincerely love you guys, and we wouldn't be here without all of you. And I love all of you on this round table, especially my wife, but everybody.
I mean, I hope so.
Thanks,
But...
Patrick.
And also, you're welcome
Ross for
because
staying up late, by the way.
Ross, you're amazing.
Yes.
Proximity. It started with proximity, and here we
It
are.
did.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Micah's
yeah,
brother.
you're welcome. You are
Micah's
welcome,
brother
everyone.
husband.
That's so gross.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you on the live stream. Stay
Yeah,
tuned for those
thanks,
interviews
guys.
if you're listening
Thanks,
to this. All right.
everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.